Hey y'all, welcome to the Medicinal Melange podcast. I'm Elizabeth, clinical herbalist and medical astrologer. And if you've been spinning your wheels with the same patterns, the same symptoms, or the same stuck feeling, this podcast is where that stops. Because your body is trying to tell you something. Your birth chart already knows the blueprint of what's ahead. And you don't need another surface level wellness trend. You need the actual map to back yourself up, to reinforce those feelings, those intuitions, the guts pulls that you have, and to actually heal. Every episode here is designed to help you see what's been running the show underneath, and then also give you the tools to break it, to reroute it, and finally just move forward. So let's get into it. This week, we are continuing on the same theme of the season, looking at each zodiac sign and talking about the physical and emotional traits, the best herbs and foods that will help increase your vitality, and the workouts that will help you align with your goals but not really contradict your inner rhythm, which is really important. Like my other episodes, let's start with the astrology forecasts for what's coming this week and why your body might be trying to send a group text to your nervous system. Yesterday was the full moon in Leo, so check if you have any Leo placements because those are especially going to be lit up right now. Leo naturally rules the back, the spine, the heart, the aorta, the myelin sheathing. If you have not listened to my episode yet on Leo, this is a great time to listen to it after this episode and get a little bit of a deep dive into what's going on with Leo. I want to say that if you have cardiovascular issues or irregularities already, just take it easy the next few days. You don't need to be out here moving that pile of rocks in your yard this weekend. I mean, unless it's metaphorical, but even then, maybe not, because you'll just stress out your nervous system too, and we don't need that. We want to keep our stress low. We want to keep our activity low, so that way we're supporting our heart during this shift from the sun in Cancer going into Leo. Saturday the 26th, the moon enters Virgo. Love that. So when this happens, it can really dry out the skin and the mucous membranes, and you may notice that you have some buzzing in your brain in the middle of the night. Maybe not full insomnia level, but your brain's going to be awake. The Virgo moon is an internal spreadsheet, but on overdrive. The upside is it can give your immune system a boost. So if you're recovering from something, this is a very good day to support your body. I would also increase the salt baths, sipping on your favorite tea, increasing your boundaries. These are all good things. On the 28th, it's an eclipse trigger day. When we have an eclipse, it kind of sets up these territorial buffer zones in the chart. It's almost an energetic degree with lots of landmines around it that get triggered to have the same response in a Groundhog Day way. When other planets come by and come on their block, they replay that moment. So Mars is hitting 23 degrees on this day. And if something major went down around the eclipse back in March at 23 degrees, don't be surprised if that shows back up. Maybe it's wearing a different costume, but it's definitely the same vibe. Watch for signs through the body that might manifest as autoimmune disease flare-ups, sudden anxiety, maybe your brain is racing a little bit more than normal, or your allergies are just wiping you out. It's the body really taking the time to flag something that you haven't metabolized yet. July 29th, the moon opposes Saturn and then Neptune. And this is a classic fatigue, brain fog, why do I feel like a wet sponge transit. With the moon opposite Saturn and then Neptune, it's going to slow down digestion because the moon is in Virgo, but it's at the very end degree. So as it goes from Virgo into Libra, we see chronic fatigue because Libra and Aries is the adrenal axis. So stimulation is very helpful here. Pour up your favorite kombucha, eat some kimchi while you pass the fridge. This one also hits the adrenal axis. So if you push yourself too hard, you won't be just tired or just exhausted, you'll feel completely knocked down. So don't wait for your body to yell at you. If you feel the drop happening, that's your warning to sit your ass down. On the 30th of July, Venus moves into Cancer. Love it. So Venus entering Cancer starts to sync up with Jupiter as well. So there's this softness and sweetness that wants you to come in, but only if you're going to let that energy in. And here's the problem with Cancer. It's often too busy nurturing everybody else to actually stop and let anything else in. If you are listening to this and not driving or holding a baby, go ahead and put your arms straight out and think about using those arms to distribute, let's say, juice packets, right? That's you serving everybody else. Okay, so if you're busy handing out these juice packets, do you have the space to also hold stuff in your hands? Absolutely not. So when we're nurturing everybody else, we're not able to receive anything. And let me get crystal clear on something. Everybody is very good at attracting. You're great at attracting. You are the best. Okay. Attracting is not your issue. Most people suck ass at receiving. So if that lands heavy in your chest, if you find yourself deflecting compliments, not resting when help is actually offered, or just brushing off actual abundance because it feels like it's too much, this is your week to go ahead and catch it. I'm actually teaching a class on this exact thing Saturday, the 26th at Deja Vu Esoterica. It's called The Receiving Frequency. It is a financial astrology class. We're going to be talking about the work according to your birth chart that will light you on fire. We are talking about job sectors that are going to be hiring like crazy and how to get in front of that abundance. We're going to be talking about investments and what areas are about to blow up, how to get your nervous system on board with letting good things stay. I'm also going deep into the behavioral psychology things, the mindset shifts around money. I've been in astrology classes where I'm just like, what? Because there's just so much information and analysis paralysis. How do you know what to keep and what to let go of? So I actually make workbooks for all of my classes, but especially my astrology classes, because I want something lined out so that way you can take notes that matter and that are meaningful for you, but also so that way you can see the basics of what's going on. So everybody will get a workbook. Everybody gets a pre-dressed candle done by me for financial abundance. And we got some other goodies in there too. It's a very special day and curated for everyone to leave receiving at a higher frequency and at a higher mindset. So abundance is abound. If that sounds like something you're into, you can definitely grab a ticket at themedicinalmelange.com. Let's get into the continuation of this season series. And today we are on Virgo. I had a little blow up on TikTok this week because I listed all of my super Virgo placements. I am a Virgo rising. I am a Virgo sun, a Virgo Mercury, and my sun and Mercury are the exact degree. The eclipse coming up is the day before my birthday, but the exact degree of both of them. So I'm kind of like nervous for it, but not nervous. It is what it is. But eclipses definitely affect me. So I can only imagine what this upcoming solar eclipse is going to do. I also have my Mars and my Venus in Virgo, which some people would say translates to me being hard to please, but I don't feel that way. I do not feel that way at all. Virgo naturally rules over the gut. So the ascending colon specifically, the pancreas, the solar plexus, digestion, liver, some of the nervous system as well. It works with its sister sign Pisces in the immune systems. Pisces rules the lymph, Pisces rules the immunity, but Virgo rules the system, the immune system. This is the body that processes everything. Food, emotion, energy, thought, everything runs through Virgo because it's the secretary of the body. It goes, you get a little bit of this, and this system over here, you get a little bit of this. Virgo bodies tend to have this mercurial disposition about them. They're probably slender. They have either slender, curvy, but like in a still slender way. body. Sometimes it's even straight up wiry frame. They have very sharp and observant eyes, especially if your Venus is in Virgo. There's something about the way you look and your eye placement that is just very attractive to other people. They do have a lot of facial symmetry, but it's subtle. Some Virgo people have this very earthy shape. Think Taurus and being grounded. It's a rectangle. It's built for farm work, stuff like that. I mean, to be fair, I'm 6'4". I do not have a rectangular body, but I'm definitely a big hoss, you know? Also, some people have a mercurial shape, and I feel like I'm very mercurial with my facial features. On a Virgo, I can normally see heavy Virgo placements in your mouth. The mouth is going to be thin-lipped, unfortunately. At least the top lip is going to be thin, especially when you smile. And it's going to have a wider mouth. Like it's just very wide. I don't know how to say it. Wide mouth, thin lips, hands that are precise and expressive. There's a physical sensitivity as well to environments, to energy, to chaos. I always explain that I cannot go to bed without my bed being perfectly crisp, which is really funny because I am not a make your bed in the morning type of person, but I actually make my bed at night before I'm about to get into it, because if the bed sheets are chaos, I'm not sleeping. So Virgos might seem calm on the outside, but internally they're running a diagnostics test 24/7. If you go back to my Gemini episode, I talked about Gemini being good at seeing the big picture, but they have these little cogs in their brain where they're thinking about all of the little details. Virgo, the other zodiac sign ruled by Mercury, is seeing the big picture and taking those little cog pieces of Gemini and putting them in each section. Personally, that's why I feel like my relationship is great, because Aaron is a Gemini, so he's going to see the little details and I kind of see the big picture and like, here's how you organize it. Virgo is very much, we don't miss a thing, and that's our brilliance, but also our burden, okay? For Virgo, food is very functional. Virgo rising thrives on clean, consistent, minimal stimulation in the diet. We're wanting to ingest gut-friendly foods. Fermented veggies are so important for Virgo. Now, they don't have to be super spicy, and I know that the fermentation point or process itself adds a little acid in it. I feel like as Americans, we fear fermented foods almost. But fermented veggies, broths, bone broths are probably best. However, if you don't eat meat, like, don't go for the bone broth. I personally love a heavy seaweed broth. As Virgos, we should go for simple ingredients. Less is more. We don't have to eat these massive meals. We can eat small little portions of mineral rich foods, protein packed foods. As far as the digestion process itself, Virgo bodies are going to prefer a warm cooked meal over raw. Raw is not my jam. I do eat a salad a day for lunch. More or less, I use ginger dressing for that. But my body prefers cooked, warm, simple foods. I am a soup queen. Simple soup, I'm here for it. Herbal bitters before meals are going to help support your enzyme release. This is a great suggestion for any time for Virgo. Herbal bitters are great at supporting digestive health, and for Virgo, they need a little extra. As far as things to avoid, I would say sugar, definitely avoid if you can. Gluten, dairy, all of these, especially when a Virgo stomach is overwhelmed, this is very good to avoid because your gut gets inflamed when you're under pressure. But anytime I had dairy load up or sugar load up, I am sick for at least the night, if not multiple days after. Virgos, we are takeout queens. We will always ask for a box. That's actually how you know a Virgo is eating with you, because they kind of push their shit around on the plate for a little bit before they just ask for a box. If there's too much food on my plate, I get overwhelmed and I will not even eat it. So pay attention to your portion size, but also how you eat, not just the what. Multitasking as well while eating is a direct nervous system trigger and shows an imbalance in Virgo. I'm notorious for eating and eating and typing up this podcast so that way I don't say like and right over and over again. That's literally why I type up this podcast, because that is my normal speech. And after the third like, I just get so annoyed. So I will sit here, eat my salad, edit the fuck out of my podcast. And that's not great. We don't want that. But every night I slow down, I put some music, sometimes shitty reality TV. I love that. And I cook dinner for my family. And then we all sit at the table together to slow down as a family. So take this as your reminder to slow down. Eat, focus on the meal, focus on the people. Everything else can wait. You don't have to multitask even while you eat. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, so you're going to be extra sensitive to speed, to overstimulation, to perfection loops, especially if you're a Virgo rising. So the best herbs for Virgo are going to be herbs like lemon balm, which supports your digestion and your anxiety. Although the caveat there is thyroid imbalances. So if you haven't caught my episode on thyroid balancing and the best herbs for that, go listen to the Taurus episode where I talk more about this. Also, chamomile calms the stomach and the mind. My first tea that I made for the medicinal melange when I was just doing herbal offerings is called Nighter. And every Friday night with my dad, we'd put on X-Files. I'd have sleepy time and eat the Girl Scout Thin Mint cookies, and I would dip it into my sleepy time. And so for me, that was a no-brainer that was the first tea that I would try to recreate or have something like it. And so in my Nighter tea, I have catnip, I have chamomile, mint, and also rose hips. Chamomile teaches a Virgo how to slow down and to have this sacred self-care ritual. If you're into that, if you go and buy any of my teas, you also get a statement of gratitude and an affirmation for every single one of my teas on my website. Another great herb is skullcap. It is amazing for the nervous system that's constantly in overdrive. Ginger helps with circulation. It helps reset your gut. I like to make ginger dressing and then put it on my salad. 20 out of 10 would recommend. And my favorite herb across the board, my favorite adaptogenic herb, all of it is astragalus root. That is in my lympha tea. I also have astragalus root in my Hecate tea. Astragalus root strengthens the immune system, but this is an immunomodulating herb, so it's also safe for autoimmune diseases too. If you have an autoimmune disease, I don't want to recommend an herb that skyrockets your immune system, because then that's going to have the wrong response in your body. Personally, I have lupus, so I also have to be very aware of what I put in my body, and this is just so soothing for my gut, for my immune system. It's great. And speaking of gut, the last one that I have on my list for Virgo is going to be burdock root. Now, I know I've talked about burdock root before because it's so soothing and, in my opinion, one of those wonder plants. But it helps with moving lymph. It soothes the gut with the healing oil that it secretes. And it also helps soothe the mucous membrane of the GI as well. Since we're talking about Virgo today, I'm going to remind you, Virgo, that you can pair your herbs with rituals that calm your mind. So tea and journaling, bitters and breath work, whatever you want that is soothing and helps you restore your power, helps you restore that battery that's always working, always going in hyperdrive. The Virgo type needs movement that helps them release overthinking, that overstructuring. We still want structure, but we want to release it. So you want your workouts to feel intentional and not chaotic. I personally cannot recommend enough Pilates. When I first did Pilates, I was like, oh shit, that is exactly what I want. Again, as we established earlier, I'm a hoss. So I was a little skeptical when I was first getting on the reformer, but I have never felt more tall. Like I felt like my spine stretched out. I felt like my legs got to stretch. I don't know. I just felt taller, leaner, stronger for sure. Any sort of mat-based strength trainings are going to be great. Reformers, bar is another great class that I love to take. Virgos are very clumsy. Extra mobility training is not a bad thing in my body. Yoga classes are also great, but we want to think about yoga that is very structured. You don't want sleepy yoga. You want like a power flow. Hiking is very good for Virgo as well because you get the silence, but also you get the rhythm in your steps. You don't really need more intensity, you need more precision. So when your form is clean, your thoughts are clean too. I am going to pull a card before we skedaddle. And I'm kind of going to be thinking about Mercury and all things that rule over Virgo. So the card I'm pulling today is, funny enough, Aries. Aries is the card that I pulled today, but Aries is about being the trailblazer. It is about going first and just doing it. For my Virgo types or anyone listening to this that was like, damn, that resonated with me, I want you to think of one thing you heard today, whether it be an eating habit, an herb, or an exercise, or just something you learned about yourself that maybe you've been very nitpicky and I got to be perfect and this isn't perfect, but now you know it's just a Virgo trait. I want you to take one thing and implement it. So if it is a mindset thing, journal about it. Release all of those ugly thoughts into a journal and be done with it. If it's an eating habit, implement it this week. If it's an exercise, do it this week. I mean, even just if you can't go hiking, walk your neighborhood, get that silence in there. Mercury gives Virgo speed, detail, this mind-body connection that can be a little over the top. That's how I'll lovingly say it. Can be a little over the top. And sometimes we overthink a little too much. So I want you to embody Aries and just going for it this week. Don't think about it. Just implement one thing that you learned today. I am going to remind you that you can find me every day virtually for medical astrology readings. Let's see what your tummy issues are like. Let's see what else is in your chart that maybe will help support healing or contradicts your healing journey. So that way we can get clear on the very best herbs for your body and your body's constitution. On Saturday, like I said, I'm teaching the receiving frequency, which is a financial astrology class. It's from 12 to 2 at Deja Vu Esoterica in San Antonio. Every Sunday, you can catch me at Deja Vu Esoterica, where I do astrology and mediumship readings. This is the perfect day if you have one or two questions, if you want to just get a general snapshot of what's going on with your chart. I also infuse mediumship into this where I get to channel and see what your highest self, what your guides are leading you towards or helping you with a specific situation. All right, y'all, that is it for this week. To book any and all appointments, you head to themedicinalmelange.com and click on astrology readings. From there, you'll see virtual or in person, and that is your choice. Either way, I will see y'all next week. Bye.